Just got done editing this interview. You guys are going to love it. Before I do that, though, I want you to know that I'm going to be in the comments for the next 30 minutes or so answering your questions. If there's additional questions you want me to ask the CEO next time I interview them, leave them below. Or if you're just loving the data points I get CEOs to share, click the thumbs up button below. That's your way of telling me you're loving this stuff, and I'll get you more of it. Additionally, again, I'll be in the comments answering any questions you have. All right, for 30 minutes. Enjoy the interview. Hello, everyone. My guest today is Conor Lee. He is building a company called GoPersonas.com, formerly named HipLead, helping sales and marketing teams scale the top of their funnel. Conor, you ready to take us to the top?
Ready to take us to the top.
All right. So talk to me first about what the company does and then why the name change from HipLead to Personas.
Yeah, absolutely. So at Personas, we basically help companies scale their sales. So we provide them a platform, a software tool for them to use to run outbound sales and build basically custom growth engines for their companies. And we do that primarily through our own application on a self-serve basis. And then we actually will go in with larger businesses, enterprise companies, and help them to build out using custom versions of our software package, their own custom growth models. And I'd say about 6 months ago, we started to move over to a new name, Personas, from HipLead. And the reason why we changed names is basically because our application, one, isn't just focused on data, on lead data. It's focused on automating, the B2B sales and marketing processes. And Personas is really our focus. So we believe that people are most when you're running a sales marketing process, what you want to do is you want to start by focusing on your audience first, who you're actually talking to, and that's the kind of the center of everything. If you're going to make, with B2B especially, if you're going to make sales and marketing work, it's going to be focused on your audience, what they care about, their pain points, and slicing and dicing it and making the most of it.
Mm-hmm. Now you got this going back in 2012, and when you came on the show back in, I think it was July of 2018, you'd shared that you'd scaled at that point to about 50 customers on the HipLead product. Where are you at today? How many folks are using the product?
We have about on the HipLead, on the Personas actual tool, we have roughly 110.
Okay. And what is the breakdown between, like, if you look at total revenue last year, are you doing consulting here makes complete sense to me on top of a SaaS product. Do you have, are you doing both, or is it all strictly SaaS, no consulting?
So we've kind of we do a little bit of consulting, but what we've done is we kind of have two distinct products now. We have our enterprise plan, and rather than doing consulting in the past, we actually build tools that our clients use. So we'll help them to build out that tool. So it's less about us, writing content and running campaigns, more about taking the software that we have and building custom versions of it, kind of like a Lego block.
How do you manage all that, though? Then you're dealing with a bunch of different code, and you have to deal with bug tracking on 7 different, code bases. Doesn't that drive your dev team crazy?
Well, we started out, being a consultancy, we basically built a back end that can support a lot of this different functionality. So one of the things that we've been successful we've done is we've kind of turned a lot of our infrastructure into an API. So we can take parts. So what the core is an API, and we can build little modules, kind of like building blocks on top of that, and pull them in and pull them out. So kind of like a set of Lego blocks or like an erector set, right? You've got one piece that grabs data from, say, their CRM, our client's Salesforce, and then it filters it, and then it has logic that then would go and say, okay, well, based on what's in here, what's the business logic, and then it would pass it into another system. And all those are these individual parts. So it's
more like plug and play, not full customization.
Yeah, exactly.
I see. Okay. All right. So 110 customers. And are you still kind of in that sweet spot of, $3,000-$4,000 a month on average, or have you moved up or downstream?
We've moved downstream in our services, or we're closer to around, in Personas product, we're closer to an average of 1,000 per month. But our enterprise business is a little bit different. We have so we're doing roughly 130K in the app on MRR, and about 180K in our enterprise.
What's the difference?
The enterprise is, so the Personas app is basically it's what you get when you log in. So it's like a regular standard SaaS application. You log in, you use it. The enterprise is basically we've taken elements of our consulting business and then built the custom code for our big clients. We have about 6 pretty large SaaS clients that are paying us $180K a month in total.
Mm-hmm. So what, like if someone asked you what is your total monthly recurring, would you take the 130 a month plus the 180 a month?
Yeah.
Okay. Got it.
So that 310 roughly.
310. Yeah. Okay. That's interesting. So, and that's, by the way, nice growth. Again, last time I came on was about 18 months ago. You were at about $150,000 a month. Did you raise a bunch of extra capital to drive that growth, or were you able to do all that with no extra?
Yeah. All that without extra. We've been around for a while. So we've got a lot of software. We've got a lot of processes, a lot of people. And so all of our growth has been really driven by just kind of listening to kind of going after these bigger clients that bigger companies have complex organizational needs, and they're willing to pay a lot of money to solve these complex organizational needs that you can't just, that they can't, throw their own developers at, or can't throw, sales operations or marketing ops at.
Okay. So still just about $200,000 in equity raised.
Yeah. We've raised zero.
Now I'm trying to remember email threads between us. Did you decide to use debt or not?
A while back, yeah. So we used Lighter Capital.
Okay.
Our loan was $150K in actual loan, and we had a 50% interest paid over 3 years. So we paid $225K, $75,000, in fees and whatnot. So it was a good experience. We enjoyed it, and in general, we haven't done it yet, but there's a lot of people. I'm not sure when this is going to air, but there's a lot of resources around COVID, Small Business Association resources that a lot of companies are a good way to get really cheap debt right now.
Well, so we're going to put this out fairly soon. So let's talk about that. Tomorrow, April 3rd, is when the federal government has said, okay, you can now apply. Now, there's some caveats here, especially where in San Francisco, a lot of my audience is VC backed. One of the issues is it's called the affiliate clause, essentially in the contract, which basically potentially makes it impossible for VC backed companies to apply for this. Now, would this apply to you? Do you consider yourself VC backed because you raised $200,000?
No, it was debt. It was fully paid off.
That $200,000 was an equity.
Yeah, there was no equity at all. So we have some friends and family that have done safe notes, but not a significant amount. So there's no actual true equity on our books.
I see. Okay, so then you're basically bootstrapped, so you're good to go. But some things that people should know about, right, related to this is, essentially you take your total payroll expenses, excluding contractors. So don't include 1099s. You can include pay to founders and owners defined as more than 20% of the company, and you do that between essentially the prior 12 months to applying for the loan tomorrow. So call it February 2019 through call it February 2020. And you cap these. The tricky part about this is it's only up to the first $100,000 in salaries per employee. So do you have people you pay more than $100,000? Anybody?
Yeah, we do.
Okay. So walk me through the application process. How are you applying for this?
We haven't fully decided to apply yet, but we actually built a resource site, covid.gopersonas.com, and what it is it's a bunch of discounts that are available to SaaS companies and to startups that are under 500 employees, and then we're building a page on there about the CARE Act loans and the related payroll loans.
Oh, this is great. You've essentially went out or just scanned the internet and basically said, hey, Box is giving a discount, Atlassian's giving a discount, Dialpad is here's a big list of all these.
Exactly. And then we're going to add other tabs underneath there that show people, a lot of companies have laid off a lot of their employees and, whatnot. And so everybody's looking at ways to save money and to tighten up. So we pulled a bunch of resources together. And one of the ones we're working on is another tab that's going to be about how to apply and how to do that.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, this is great. I mean, look, for those of you, maybe we release this one tomorrow. I'll move this episode up since it's going to be relevant. Anyone listening to this right now, it's April 3rd, Friday, morning. Basically, the federal government has said, okay, banks who are FDI insured, and they're going to put out a more comprehensive list. They haven't yet, which is crazy. It's 24 hours away. But basically, they're saying funds can start, the applications can start being processed by banks tomorrow. And what that means is if you had $1 million in salary, right, payroll over the past 12 months, capped at $100,000 per employee, not including contractors, you then take that number, divide by 12, so about $83,000 per month, and multiply by 2.5x multiplier, right? So you're looking at about $200,000 is what your loan would be eligible for from the federal government, backed by the federal government from your bank, if your bank is FDIC insured.
Yeah.
Right. So the trick with this that, Conor, that I'm trying to share with people is I think the money will run out, right? If you take 350 billion
right
at a max of 10 million per company, that's only 34,000 companies. Right. Even if you only do 100,000 per company, that's 3.5 million companies. Jobless claims last week or alone or last month 6 million. Right. So it's going to run out. So you should apply quickly.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's a lot of companies that are struggling to make payroll, and this is a really great thing to help them. So.
Yeah. Last thing on this subject, just to get all the information out there, people are saying, well, Nathan, do I have to pay the loans back? So like, let's say Conor had $1 million of payroll expense. He goes and gets a loan for $200,000. He's like, well, wait, do I pay this back? The terms on the loan it cannot be higher than 0.5% interest rate set by the federal government. And the term can't be more than 2 years. That's also a federally set guideline as of like 5:40 a.m. this morning. It could change, right? So banks will do these loans, but here's the cool thing. If Conor gets that check for $200,000 from his bank, they will put it in his bank account. If he spends that money on payroll, utilities, mortgage, or any interest payments on mortgage or rent, it's deductible. It's forgiven. So in the 8 weeks after Conor gets the loan, starting, let's say he gets it tomorrow or early next week, in the next 8 weeks, if he spends $200,000 on any of those items, including payroll, he doesn't have to pay back any of the loan. It's essentially free money. So that's why this is so important for founders to take advantage of, especially if you've really been hit hard by the virus. That's all the info. I spew it out.
You're an expert on this, man.
Well, I've studied. I've studied the heck out of it because so many people were asking me questions. But yeah, that's the approach to take there. And Conor, I'll ping you after this episode and figure out how to get you this information for your site too. But yeah, guys, also check out the link is covid.gopersonas.com. We'll put it up on the blog as well, so you guys can check that out. Conor, talk to me about your customers. Are you seeing a churn spike because of this?
So customers that are, we work with a lot of different companies. Almost all of our customers are SaaS businesses. And they span the gamut from recruiting to companies that are doing photography, to doing, pure play SaaS, remote worker, sort of software. And obviously the ones that are the tightest are ones that are doing things that are related to offices and things that are related to physical events. So some of our customers that are kind of the tightest. What we've been doing for our existing customers, we've been offering them free resources on our own services during this time and massive discounts, just to make sure that they can get through this. And so we're trying to keep everyone from churning by doing whatever we can on a case by case basis. So if the customers really need resources and we can tell and we talk to them, then we'll roll out some extensions and resources for them.
Okay.
But in general, yeah, we are seeing a lot of a pain in the marketplace. Companies that are doing recruiting are hurting, especially ones that are doing recruiting for non-technical kind of roles, sales and support and all of that. And then companies that are doing event-related things or office-related things are all feeling a bit of pain.
Mm-hmm. So taking a step back, you had shared last time your gross revenue churn annually was about 12%. Still around there, or have you gotten better?
We're still in that range on our product. We haven't had any churn on our enterprise whatsoever, so 0% there. But on our we're at 12-15% churn on the self-serve Go personas.
And are you seeing meaningful expansion revenue, especially from that self-serve at maybe $1,000 a month up to your enterprise level at $5, $6, $7, $8 a month?
We have, and I don't have all the numbers in front of me, but
that's okay.
But the 15% includes some expansion churn, but we treat the enterprise and the app as almost two separate businesses. So we haven't easily tracked them in between. But But yeah, there is a good amount of because what we do is we have a monthly plan, starting off at right now it's $250, and during COVID we give it for free for 3 months for companies that need it. And then what we'll do is we'll upsell people onto a 1-year plan with a discount. And so if you factor those two things in, it does have probably 10% or more negative churn or upsell.
So when you look then at the past 12 months, if you have 12% revenue churn and about 10 to 15% expansion, you're flirting with about 100% net revenue retention?
No, the 15%, the 12-15% kind of churn includes some of that. So I think we're probably around 20% churn overall. And then if you add in the revenue, it brings it down. And then there's probably another 5% that expansion that we're not counting because it's going to the enterprise business because we haven't done all the math. But so it's that's kind of the range.
But Conor, if you generally just look at the customers you had paying you exactly 1 year ago, and then you look at the amount of downgraded revenue plus add back the amount of expansion revenue, is that cohort about flat? So 100% net revenue retention?
It's about 5% churn overall.
Okay, got it. So 95% net. I see.
Yeah, exactly.
I see. That's helpful. Mm-hmm. Okay, cool. Where's growth coming from?
So growth's coming from it was coming from events.
That'll be changed for a while, yeah.
Yeah, we partnered with the Growth Marketing Conference and do a lot of stuff with them. Those guys are great. We are kind of shifting over to doing a lot more webinars ourselves. And then a lot of it kind of comes from we use our own tools to run our own outbound campaigns and whatnot. So we basically have. So our tool does email, so you can use it to run outbound email campaigns, and you can also use it to run ad campaigns, lookalike audiences, very easily, and then also do mailing as well. So we use all those tools together to kind of to reach people, whatever medium they prefer, and kind of all the mediums in general, and that generates a lot of the vast majority of our revenue.
And are you operating right at break even, or are you profitable?
We're profitable.
Oh, great. Okay. Very good. What's team size today? How many folks?
So we have 8 employees in SF, and we have 12 other remote employees, kind of all over the world. Our development is based in South America primarily. We have 2 folks in SF, but the rest of the engineers are in South America, in Peru. And then we have operations folks kind of all over the world, folks in Canada, parts of the US, Asia, Africa, Eastern Europe, you name it.
Very remote.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Wait, so how many engineers? Total 20 on the team. How many total engineers?
We have 5 engineers in total.
Okay. And any quota carrying sales reps?
Yeah. We have 1 quota carrying sales rep currently. And then we have another contractor that we work with that does also carry quota, but isn't a full-time employee.
Good stuff, man. All right. So last question on the COVID stuff. So it sounds like you're still researching the payment protection plan that they've put out. I mean, is there any reason you wouldn't apply for that? Have you done any research there?
No, there isn't a reason. I probably should. If anything, because we're working on content to help people do it.
Yeah.
So just kind of learn the process ourselves. So there's no real reason to apply. I mean, I guess you said it's capped at 5%. So
those are just 0.5%. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. It's essentially, it really is the closest thing you're ever going to see to free capital. From everything I can tell. I mean, you look at it and go, it's too good to be true. But from everything I can tell, that's it. That's the number. The reason I'm asking, the reason I've said it so much is, part of what I've done over the past 2 years, I don't obviously talk about this a ton publicly, but I've invested a lot of money via debt into SaaS companies. And so one of the things that I'm considering doing, and if you end up doing this, email me or tweet me, is I am matching whatever you get from COVID. So if you applied and got a $200,000 check from the COVID funds, I would give you another $200,000 in debt. Now it's not going to be as cheap as 0.5%, but I'll match funds essentially.
Oh, interesting. That's really cool.
Yeah. So we'll see how it works out.
Yeah. Well, if you want to, I'd be happy to put that on our site too. If it's useful, because we're going to create another tab. And so if there's anything that you want to share publicly, of matching or whatever else.
Yeah, happy to. We'll definitely talk, because on my blog right now at the top pinned, I've got a massive like information sheet for SaaS companies, but I don't have what you have, which are deals that SaaS companies are giving to people impacted by COVID, and the two together make a lot of sense. So we'll follow up on that.
Awesome.
All right, Conor, let's wrap up with the famous five. Number one, favorite business book.
Man, I think these days it's Crossing the Chasm.
Okay, very good. No, you've graduated from Hard Thing About Hard Things, huh?
Yeah. Exactly.
Number two, is there a CEO you're following or studying?
I like Manny Medina is a guy I know pretty well, and a buddy, and I like what he's doing at over at Outreach.
Yep, just put up a great LinkedIn post. You guys should check it out. He had to make a tough decision laying off a large portion of the team, but I think did it in a way that is just probably the most graceful way you could ever do that. So good lessons there. Number three, what's your favorite online tool for building your company besides your own?
We've been liking HubSpot a lot. And also Outreach, as well. So.
Number four, how many hours of sleep you get every night?
These days, I've actually been getting a healthy 8 hours of sleep every night. So.
That's one common theme amid the virus. Everyone's getting more sleep.
Tons of sleep.
And married, single, kids?
Married, no kids.
Okay, but that must have been recent. I was going to say that was recent, right?
Yeah.
All right, congratulations. And how old are you?
I am 38.
38, very good. Last question. What do you wish your 20-year-old self knew?
20-year-old self. I think I wish my 20-year-old self would have known that, that basically, let's think about this.
Yeah, it's a big one.
Party less, work less, enjoy life a little bit more.
There you go. Party and work less. Guys, there you have it from Conor Lee. Used to be Hip Lead, now called Go Personas, because they're doing much more than just leads. They grew from 1.8 million in terms of run rate, call it a year and a half ago, to over 3.6 today, serving two separate cohorts, self-serve and enterprise, together, again, $310,000 a month in recurring revenue. He's done this in San Francisco and bootstrapped, which I loved. Used some debt to get going, but basically bootstrap. No equity raise, 20 folks on the team, all remote, 5 engineers, 1 salesperson, 95% net revenue retention as he looks to scale. Check out covid.gopersonas.com for deals during the virus that SaaS companies are doing in terms of discounts. Conor, thanks for taking us to the top.
Thanks, Nathan. It's been a pleasure as always.
These CEOs rarely give these kinds of interviews. I hit them hard, I get the data, and I want to do it more. So if you want to get more of this stuff, make sure you subscribe up here. And then additionally, go check out one of my other CEO interviews right now.